Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and today we are talking about the Creep Tapes Episode 4, Brad, starring the one and only Josh Rubin, who I was really excited knowing this episode was coming. I'm a huge fan of Josh Rubin, both as an actor and director. Scare Me was brilliant. You know, he directs and stars in it, and Werewolves Within just so happens to be on my snowed-in horror movie playlist now. It's a great murder mystery movie that also has werewolves. So bringing him in, I think is a really nice touch. I think he and Mark Duplass play really well off of each other. And I love the setup of, he's a true crime, documentary filmmaker. And much like Creep 2, Peach Fuzz is kind of upfront that he's a killer.
Okay, Brad. So yes, that is a dead body. And I know what you're thinking. We've all seen dead bodies before. What's the big deal? What's interesting here is how it happened.
And it almost dares, not almost, it does dare its subject, Brad, and us, the audience, are you along for this ride? And I love the idea of that. I love the concept of, serial killers have this inherent narcissism and the idea that, I get that he is genuinely a fan of this documentary filmmaker, Brad, and that he does genuinely want him, to make a documentary about him, which is what he's doing. That being said, I think the issues I'm having with this series are kind of getting worse as it goes on. And it's not to say that the episodes are getting worse. It's to say that my issues with it are becoming more obvious and noticeable as it goes on. First of which being the runtime. Prime example this episode where it's just kind of getting started. It's just getting good. It's just getting into its own groove. And then it kind of just abruptly ends because they're like, well, we're at the runtime. We only got 25, 27 minutes. So, gotta kill the person now. It almost feels like we have a first act and a third act, and they're missing the second act. And this episode especially, I think, easily could have been an hour. Easily could have been Creep 3. It could have been just its own, third installment in the film series with Josh Rubin as Brad, and you could have explored all of these ideas so much deeper, because later on we get where, Peach Fuzz is basically trying to set Brad up and frame him. And again, that's a really cool idea. That's a really cool concept that I'm going to gaslight you into, thinking it was you or thinking other people are going to believe it's you. And there's so much you could have done with it that it just doesn't have the time to do because it's limited by its own runtime. I also feel like we're getting to the point that, and I know I said this at the beginning, that it was, it feels like it's the same setup. I kind of want something to be different, and it's kind of just doing the same thing every episode, which inherently I get that's what we were kind of pitched, that's what we were promised. I'm not saying the show lied to us or promised something different. We kind of knew what we were getting. I'm starting, we're 4 episodes in, we've got 2 left, and I'll still watch the other 2, I'm still going to review, I'm still going to highlight things I like about it, but I don't think it's going to do anything groundbreaking, and I was kind of hoping that it would, because in order to keep something like this fresh, you kind of have to change things up a bit. All that out of the way, I did really enjoy parts of this episode. I love, what did he call it? Oh, there's the burping again, where like every time Brad sees a dead body, he throws up, because it's such a human response, and it reminds me of how I was literally so I'm recording this, the very early morning hours after Thanksgiving, and just last night at Thanksgiving dinner, I was with my extended family, and they were like, Dave, do you know about this Terrifier thing? And I'm like, do I know about this or like, who are you talking to? Of course I know about it. I love the Terrifier movies. And my aunt and uncle, they were saying like how they heard how grotesque it was. And how they're like, I heard people are throwing up is it really, I read about it and they said it's really, really disgusting and gory. And like, how can you like something like this? And when Brad sees the dead bodies and he throws up, it makes me laugh because that's the normal human response. And it's like, that's my aunt and uncle. Normal people, reading about Terrifier and how people are having to have barf bags in the movie theater. And then I'm Peach was like, what's wrong with this? This is normal. Only because I'm so desensitized. As I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you probably are too. So that really made me laugh, especially, again, watching it literally the morning after Thanksgiving. I also really liked the idea that I get the sense that Peach Fuzz is being genuine when he's like fanboying out to Brad, this, documentary true crime filmmaker, and he has his old docuseries from 20 years ago. I think he does genuinely like it because, again, he's a serial killer. I think he loves true crime. That's why he wants someone to do one about him. And this is the closest he gets to kind of, not quite going public, but wanting to be out there and be seen and noticed for what he is. So I hope some of that continues. I don't know what's in store for the last 2 episodes. I know that I'm pretty much reserved to the point that I know I'm going to be disappointed inevitably in the next 2 when the ending has to abruptly come because we've run out of runtime, and I've just kind of accepted that. But I'm still excited to see what the series has. Don't let my issues with it by any means suggest that I don't like the series. I wish it had more time, and that doesn't mean I don't like it. It means I like it so much I wish that it had more time to do its thing. It's not like a movie or a show that's too long and I'm like, you really could have shaved off some time because I was bored. It's like, no, I want more of it, and you're like barely giving me enough. It's like, let's go back to Thanksgiving, which was last night. It's like going to Thanksgiving and being given an appetizer. And you're like, that was good and all, but like, is that it? Do you have like oh no, we're just doing a 24-minute appetizer. We're not doing like an hour long or hour and a half long full course meal. Oh, okay. Well, I enjoyed it, but I'm still hungry. So I'm still hungry. Let me know if you are. These are just my thoughts. This is just my rant. Let me know in the comments. What did you think of episode 4? Brad, do you like Josh Rubin? Are you a fan of his other work? What do you hope to see in the last 2 episodes? What do you predict will happen in the last 2 episodes? Let me know. Like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may end up being asked to go to some guy's house to film something, and it turns out he actually killed maybe 1 or 2 people. One of which was in the Peach Fuzz mask, which I have questions. And as always, every day is Halloween.